Hey guys, welcome to, I'm going to call this a podcast masterclass. I want to talk about emotional health. I want to talk about spiritual health. I want to talk about how to live a healthy version of your own soul. So a thought I was having, and I'm going to share my screen really quickly because I think this is going to add so much value to your life as we really dive into this. I don't even know how long I'm going to talk, but I think this is going to be really powerful for you, okay? If you are listening to this, you're probably one of the first to get it, meaning that you're part of my subscriber list and you're getting these teaching principles, you're getting these just these great teachings and points on emotional health that is really going to transform your life. It's going to add value to your life and it's going to be transformative for you. So I want to talk and share on this idea that what you don't transform, you ultimately transfer. I want to say that again. What you don't transform, you ultimately transfer. I want to talk about how unresolved wounds, how beliefs, how emotional habits will all serve to shape your relationships. They're going to shape your leadership. And at the end of the day, they're going to shape your legacy, whether you realize it or not. What you don't transform, you will transfer. The core premise is this, that every person is transferring something. You're transferring your thoughts, your emotional habits, your communication style. You're transferring your fears, your insecurities, and even your levels of healing. How much healing you've walked into as an individual is transferring on other people. Whether you realize it or not, what's happening on the inside of you will eventually impact the people around you. So then, I think our challenge is to become more aware. Our challenge is to walk in greater levels of healing, to walk in greater levels of growth. Because we are believers and because we find our foundation in the Word of God, we see in Romans 12:2, it says, "Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." That simply means it's time to change the way you think, because if you change the way you think, it'll change everything about you. Notice here, Paul doesn't just say learn more things, learn more stuff. No, he says transform, because what you don't transform, you transfer. Transformation is the goal. So then, I like to say it, our coffee cup principle. When we think of this coffee cup principle, it's this, that the pressure in your life doesn't create what's inside. Pressure reveals what's already there. So many people will say, well, I'm under immense amount of pressures, or this is hard, or the thing I'm experiencing, I feel like I'm going to bend or I'm going to break, whatever that looks like. The pressure doesn't create what's inside of you. It actually reveals what's already there. What you don't transform, again, you transfer. So we have to ask ourselves the question in this before we really get into the several models of our teaching or the models of this podcast masterclass, is that what tends to spill out of you when you come under pressure? What comes out in those moments where hard things happen? Because the thing that comes out in those moments where hard things happen will ultimately show what's already there. Pressure is not the thing that defines you. Awareness is the thing that transforms you. Awareness, knowing what's going on the inside, and actually doing something about it is the thing that will ultimately transform you. So let's look at module number 1 in our time of teaching, okay? Module number 1 says that you're always transferring something. You are always transferring something. Most people don't believe that they influence others, or they believe that they influence others through what they teach. But the reality is we often influence people more through what we model than what we teach at the end of the day. Children then, they absorb emotional patterns. Often I've talked to and counseled or coached so many people in this truth that they'll say, I don't know why I do what I do. Well, could it be that you learned what you do from family members? You learned it from your developmental years in your life? Employees absorb leadership patterns from their bosses and from their employers. Church members absorb cultural patterns from leaders, pastors, spiritual leaders. Spouses, we absorb our relational patterns from our spouse, from those conversations that happen in between us. The question we have to ask ourselves in these moments is, what do people consistently experience when they experience me? Ask yourself that, because they may not remember what you teach them, but they will remember what you model in front of them. They will remember how you treat them. Often an exercise that I sit with people and I think them through this as I'm coaching them or counseling them in areas of spiritual or emotional health is, ask yourself this question. People around me often experience me as fill in the blank. Calm or anxious, encouraging, critical. Do they experience you as present, or do they experience you as distracted? Do they experience you as someone they can trust, or do they experience you as someone who's always trying to control the situation? Are you secure? Do they experience security around you, or do they feel defensiveness? One of the things I've come to understand is that people may not remember what you say, but they will never forget what they felt when they were around you. They may not remember everything you teach them. They may not remember everything you say, or even the things that are most important to you, but they will remember what you felt like when they were around you. What does it feel like when I'm around you? Do I feel calm or do I feel anxious? That's some inner work there that has to be done. Some inner work that has to be done there. You're always transferring something. Think in this moment, what are you transferring as an individual? Because we said it at the top of our time together, what you don't transform, you will ultimately transfer. So I want to talk about this for a few moments. I'm going to share it there. You're going to see it on the screen. I want to talk about the hidden cycle of emotional transfer. Okay. This is some great teaching stuff. Okay. What is the hidden cycle of emotional transfer? Most patterns follow a predictable path. Okay. Most patterns in our lives, in our relationships, they follow a predictable path. This path, what does it look like? First, it starts with a wound. From there, it goes to an event, From there, it goes to a wound, and then to a belief, and then to a behavior, and that behavior develops an impact. Okay, let's look at that again. The hidden cycle of emotional transfer says an event happens, something happens in my life, whether it's good or it's bad. So that could be an event is a child experiences repeated criticism. You know, you have those middle schoolers, high schoolers, they experience criticism. Or maybe it's not in school. Maybe it's from a family member. Maybe it's areas of abuse. Or maybe you just didn't have a good childhood or a good life in general. An event, something happens in your life, or maybe it's later on in life, you get terminated from a job, or you have a bad relationship, or you just have a bad day. An event happens, something happens, good, bad, or anywhere in between. From there, it develops a wound. This creates an emotional wound. So that child, let's go back to that analogy there. A child experiences a repeated criticism. The wound then will say, I don't feel accepted. They didn't want to be friends with me. They didn't choose me to play kickball. I was not chosen to be a part of the play or to be a part of the group. And so the wound begins to speak, and you start to say to yourself, I don't feel accepted. Well, what happens from that wound? A belief then comes into your mind. That belief says, I'm not enough. I'm not enough to be accepted. I'm not enough to be wanted. I'm not enough to feel like I'm a part of everyone else. Well, after that belief then sets in, then there becomes a behavior. So you get this thing, either I have to be perfect to be wanted, or perfect to be enough, or I have to perform well enough to be enough. You get a behavior. That belief drives your behaviors, because you begin to believe something about yourself. You begin to believe something about other people. That belief then drives your behaviors. After that behavior, it then settles into a place of impact. Your behaviors impact your relationships and your legacy. And so every relationship you have stands on the foundation of a behavior. I have to be perfect and I have to perform because it comes from a place of a belief I'm not enough. Because you experienced a wound, I don't feel accepted. And it all came from an event where you were criticized, repeated criticism. You see, the person eventually transforms or transfers their internal pressure into everyone around them. You see, we don't transfer our wounds. We transfer the behaviors created by our wounds. I want to say that again. You don't transfer that wound of rejection or abandonment or that wound of not being enough, not being accepted. You don't transfer that. You transfer the behavior that's created by the wound. What behaviors are you transferring on to other people because it really hasn't been transformed? It really hasn't been healed in your life. The hidden cycle of emotional transfer says we don't transfer our wounds. We transfer the behaviors our wounds create. Okay, we're getting somewhere. I hope this is helping you. I hope this is healing you because I'm enjoying it and I'm the one that's teaching it. Okay. All right, let's move to this next portion of this. Okay. So let's move to this next module. And it's this, that you have to identify what you're carrying. In order to move from a place of wounding or in order to move from a place of hard emotional things into a place of transformational living, you have to identify ultimately what you are carrying. Many people can identify symptoms, but few people can identify the sources of those symptoms. So what does this symptom look like then? A symptom of a unhealed place or a symptom of a wound or a place of unhealed transfer is often anxiety. You're always afraid. You live in a place called what if. Are you living in a place called what if? Is that you? If so, that's kind of hard. That's not easy. Are you living in a place called what if? Or is it a symptom of anger? It's really big. Every time something doesn't go like I wanted to, I get angry. And so I begin to respond to other people out of places and spaces of anger. Or maybe you have a symptom of people pleasing or perfectionism. This is a big one. Fear of failure. So many times people don't step out on the edge or step out on the ledge because they fear they're going to fail. Do you have a symptom of conflict avoidance? You never like to talk about hard things with other people because you say, you know what? I don't want to go through that hard stuff. Or you have a symptom of control. This is a really big thing, especially with moms and their kids. You have to control it. These behaviors are often emotional smoke. Whoa. Let me say that again. Symptoms are often emotional smoke. The real issue is the fire that's underneath. What's burning? What's causing these things to pretty much fall apart in your life? It's not the anxiety. It's not the anger. It's not the people pleasing. It's not the fear of failure. It's not the conflict avoidance. Those are all just emotional smoke. No, it's really a fire underneath. And so in order to identify that fire, you have to ask yourself, what triggers me the most? What's triggering me in these moments? What's causing me difficulty in these moments? What situations create strong emotional reactions in my life? Someone not agreeing with you, someone not saying they like what happens to your life, someone disagreeing with an idea you have. Is it causing a strong emotional reaction? What patterns do I keep repeating? That's another thing that you can ask yourself. Or what relationship frustrations show up over and over and over again? I love it. David says something so good. He says, search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me, know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me and lead me in the way everlasting. I think David was like, God, I don't know what the emotional smoke is. I know the areas that seem like symptoms, but the real issue is the fire that's underneath it all. So he says, search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me and do what? Lead me in the way everlasting. Lead me in the way everlasting. Okay, we're getting somewhere. This is good. I hope you're enjoying this. I'm enjoying this. I'm getting something from this. I am podcast masterclassing myself. Okay, so let's look at this. The beliefs behind behavior. So we talk about the wound. We talked about that those things are smoke. We talk about I'm in this place where I'm transferring what's not transformed. But what are the beliefs behind the behaviors that are actually a part of my life? Every reoccurring behavior or pattern is connected to a reoccurring belief. I want to set that really as a part of our time together. Every reoccurring behavior is connected to a reoccurring belief. Many of the beliefs that we have were formed long before adulthood. I'm really big on this idea that the developmental years of your life transforms much of what you experience. It becomes the baseline of what you experience in life. Examples of this is I must be perfect. That is a belief that influences a unhealed behavior. I can't trust people, or my needs don't matter. The belief that I have to earn love because you didn't receive love like you needed it from a parent or an authoritative figure. I'm responsible for everyone else's happiness. That's a big one with so many people that I talk to, that I counsel and that I coach and that I minister to, whatever that looks like. I'm not enough. I have to earn love. My needs don't matter. Or I have to put my needs down before I can see my needs met in other ways. Or you meet your needs in improper ways. I can't trust people. Oh, that's big. I can't trust people. The truth is, beliefs become invisible operating systems within the machinery of your life and your soul. You begin to operate by them. Every computer has an operating system, whether you're Mac, iOS, whether you're a cell phone, whether you're Windows, everyone has an operating system. These beliefs become invisible operating systems in your life. So I want to ask you a question. I want you to take some time and just think through this. And if you need to pause this podcast masterclass, if you need to pause this, I encourage you to do so. What belief might be fueling your most frustrating emotional pattern? What belief do you have that's possibly fueling your most frustrating emotional pattern in life? You see, you can't change a pattern until you challenge the belief system behind it. Until you actually get in a place, in a space where you challenge the belief system that's empowering your negative patterns, you really can't change that pattern. What we believe runs our lives long before we are aware of them. Often I can talk to someone and I can look at you and say, we can go back and see in your childhood or in those developmental years of your life, we can go back and we can see the very moment that you started to believe something. And it's in that moment that operating system began to come into play. It's in that moment that operating system began to act out and reenact in your life. And it's in that moment that you probably stopped growing when you start believing my needs don't matter, or I have to earn love, or I can't trust people. You probably stopped growing. And because you stopped growing, now everything you say and do and think of is really becoming a part of the life that you live. And it's a negative. It's not a positive. It's a negative. Let's call it what it is. Okay. What belief might be fueling your most frustrating emotional patterns? All right, let's move on to this next module. Okay, this is really important here. Transformation requires more than awareness. So many people will say, well, become aware. You just need to know. Well, you know, but what are you going to do about it? Just because you know something, awareness or knowledge starts the process. Transformation completes it. So we're amping up pretty much, and we're overcoming a hurdle of, well, I know about it. Guess what? We got a lot of people in the world now that they know about it, but they're not doing anything about it. And if that's you, I'm sorry. I'm really not sorry. We're running on all cylinders right now. Okay. Awareness starts the process. I know why it happened, but just because you know why it happened does not mean you're actually transforming from why it happened. Many people, they know why they struggle. They can tell you 10 ways to Sunday why they struggle with what they struggle with. But few know how to heal what they struggle with. They don't know how to walk out health. They don't know how to walk out wholeness. I want to share with you a transformation framework, really, and we're going to get into this because I think this is going to be probably one of the most transformational things you hear in this podcast masterclass, okay? The first step in a transformation framework is noticing or identifying the pattern. Notice, number one, identifying the pattern. Knowing just the symptom, not just the emotional smoke, but knowing the fire underneath it. Identifying the pattern. After we identify the pattern, then we have to name. So notice and then name. Identify the wound and the belief. What is the patterns, the emotions, and the belief that's causing that difficult moment that you can't transform? After we notice it, and we have to name it. After we name it, then guess what? You got to challenge it. Is this true? Is believing I'm not enough, or I can't trust other people, or God's out to get me? That's a big one. Is this actually true? It's time to challenge the lies. It's time to challenge the lies, challenge those unhelpful beliefs that drive that pattern that you've noticed. But then we don't just challenge it. All right, you know it, you notice it, you've named it, you've challenged it. Now it's time to do what? Replace it. Develop a healthier belief system in its place. Replace the lie with truth and a new perspective. How do we do that? Okay, is this true? Is this life-giving to me? Is this transformational to me? Will this transform the life of someone else, or am I just thinking of stuff and I'm just doing stuff and it's not changing anyone? It's not even changing me, okay? Develop a healthier belief system in its place. But then after you challenge the lie and you replace it with the truth, you got to practice it. Create new emotional habits. Because guess what? What you don't practice, you will ultimately slip back into that old way of thinking. Again, we know the passage of scripture, John 8:32. I love it. You will know the truth. Jesus says this. You'll know the truth, and the truth will make you free. You got to practice it. How does it make you free? Practice it. Replace it. Challenge it. Name it. And notice it. Okay? Freedom happens when we believe truth, it replaces the distortions that we once had. Okay, we're almost done. We are almost done. So after we get to this place where we're understanding what transformation is, then we come into a place and a space and a spot where we have to learn how to create a different legacy. Most people think legacy is what they leave behind. Okay? Most people think that legacy is what they leave behind, but actually legacy is what you leave within other people. I want to say that again. Legacy is not always what you leave behind. It's what you deposit into other people. The healthiest gift you can leave your family or your team or your church or your job, your coworkers, your organization is your ongoing transformation. The healthiest thing you can do for the people around you is your ongoing transformation. I'm going to drink some coffee to that. So ask yourself these questions. What am I currently passing on? Are you passing on a legacy of anxiety, a legacy of control? Are you passing on a legacy of trustlessness? That's probably not even a word, but I'm going to say it anyway. What emotional atmosphere are you creating in the lives of other people? What patterns do you want to stop? Things that as you're listening to this, you realize, hey, I want to stop these patterns. I want to transform this. I don't want this to keep going in my life. I want to see this transformed. What patterns? Or what qualities do I want to produce? What qualities do I want to produce? I think the greatest gift you can give other people you love is your commitment to becoming an emotionally healthy person. The greatest gift you can give is a transformed soul, because what you don't transform, you ultimately transfer. So I want to talk about the coaching model and this framework. And I'm going to put it, I don't know if I even put it on there. Okay. So this is a coaching model. This is the transform framework. This is the transform model. Okay. I want to share this and I got to get it to actually share it. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing my screen with you guys because I want to go over this really quickly. Okay. So let's talk really quickly about this transform model. Okay. When we get to a place in a space where we say, I want to transform my emotional health, I want to transform my life, I want to live out everything that God has for me. I want to live out be the best version, if I'll say it like that, be the best version of me I can be. Okay. I'm going to share my screen because I think this is crucial and this is important. So let's look at this transform model or this transform framework. Okay. I'm going to share my screen with you guys because I think this is important to share here and now. So the transform process, a process of transformation. We're going to go there and I'm going to share this. I love that you guys are with me in this process. Okay, there we go. So transform. First, notice, hey, this looks familiar. I got you. Okay. First, notice what's going on. Okay. I love it because chat helps me do all of my stuff. Notice what's happening. Name it, challenge it, replace it, and then turn around and practice it. Notice it, name it, challenge it, replace it, and then turn around and say, you know what? I want to practice it. Okay. I'm going to break that down for you a bit more and we're going to get deeper into this. Okay. And I have to share my screen with you guys because we're getting into good stuff. Okay. We're getting into good stuff. Let me share these slides with you. There we go. Perfect. All right. So transform model. There we go. Transform model. There we go. You guys can see it. So notice it, name it, challenge it, replace it, and then turn around and you want to practice it. So I love acronyms and I don't have a slide for this. I'm sorry. But transform, trace the pattern, identify the reoccurring behaviors that you have in your life. Those things that are really causing you to go, this is a thing. T, trace the pattern. R, recognize the trigger. Notice what activates them, okay? What activates that painful pattern, that thing that's not transformational in your life? A, assess the wound. Explore where the pattern originated from. Assess the wound. N, name the belief. Identify the underlying narrative. Transform. S, surrender the pain. In this place, invite God into that space. I don't want to carry this anymore. You know, this is a part of that challenging it. I don't want to carry this anymore. F, find the truth. Replace lies with truth. Replace lies with truth. O, form. Own new behaviors. Practice healthier responses. One of the biggest things you can do after you challenge lies, after you challenge all of these things, is replace them and then learn to practice or transform or practice new responses in your life. R, reinforce growth. Develop consistency in what you're doing. Just don't do it one time or two times or three. Practice new ways until they become your new normal. And then finally, M, pass that healing on to other people. I said it before and I'll say it again in that process. Legacy is often not what you leave behind. It's actually what you leave within other people. So I want to leave you with a challenge, lasting challenge, final challenge, okay? A final challenge. And it's this. Imagine your life was like a river, okay? At our first slide, I kind of showed a river. So imagine your life is like a river right there. Imagine your life is like a river. Everything that you do is flowing from you downstream every day. Your attitudes, your reactions, your beliefs, your emotional health, they're all flowing from you to other people. The question is not whether you're transferring something. The question then is, what are you transferring? Think about that. It's not whether you're transferring something. It's what are you transferring at the end of the day? Because what you don't transform, you transfer. I think when healing begins, you stop passing down pain and you start passing down peace in your life. You stop reproducing dysfunction and you start reproducing health in yourself and in other people. Those old patterns, you don't perpetrate them anymore. You begin creating a new legacy. And I think that's where ultimately that's the power of transformation. What you don't transform, you transfer. So again, it's time to break unhealthy patterns. It's time to create healthier lives, healthier futures. Resolve those wounds, resolve those beliefs, those emotional habits, and allow healing, a healed you, to shape your relationships, to reshape your leadership, and again, to reshape your legacy. Thanks for watching. I hope this has been great for you. I hope this has been transformational to you. Stay tuned because we're going to be doing some more things like this. Podcast Masterclass.